What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got another character card from the Transformers trading card game that we need to take a little bit of a look at. It is Private Tote, and it has been revealed by the lovely Jamie Madison of Powered by Primus. Now, this is one of the community reveals, so usual rules apply. Please make sure you click a link to the video. I will, of course, pop one in the description. Let's show some love for the people revealing these cards. Hopefully, we can keep these community spoilers going, because firstly, it's fun, and secondly, it helps grow the game. Because I know people that don't play, and people watch my channel that are into Keyforge, not really Transformers, and the same's going to go for a whole bunch of other websites and YouTube channels, etc. Let's keep growing the game. Let's give this dude a bit of love. So Private Tote then. He's a bit small. He's incredibly small. He's a 4-star character, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to be fair, it is a Micromaster. We expect Micromasters to be a little bit small and frankly to have pretty bad stats, and we're really not disappointed. Now, the average 8 cost, we'd be expecting a 4-12-2 line, and we've got half the cost, half the attack, half the defense, and just a little under half health. A stat line of 2 attack, 5 health, 1 defense. Let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Ain't nobody got time for that. It's not a good stat line. But Private Tote is not one of these characters we play for the stat line. It's just not. Now, the good news is it's a Micromaster, so in alt mode it's got the skill that Micromasters have in alt mode. It's got stealth while untapped. That means that if all your characters are untapped, your opponent would usually get a choice. But with Private Tote, they don't. Now, the exception to this, if you're playing only Micromasters or only characters that have stealth, then in that regard, yes, your opponent could go after whoever they wanted, because essentially if everyone's got stealth, then nobody's got stealth. What this really means is your opponent cannot just smash out the gate. If your opponent goes first, they can't just use the first attack to take it off the board before you've ever had a chance to use it. It's alright. It's not some kind of game-breaking ability, and the second you tap, whether that's by attacking or using the tap ability, then it's open season. But until that time, we're okay. So, again, all this so far is to be expected. It's a Micromaster. This is what Micromasters do. But they also have a tap ability. That is to say, instead of attacking, you can tap and use the skill. Now, that does mean that you essentially lose an attack down the line, but maybe the tap ability's worth it, and it just might be. Now, you do have to scrap a card from your hand that has a black icon, which is not entirely ideal. But then you untap one of your characters that has 6 stars or fewer. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very much a fan of. Because, of course, generally speaking, during your turn, you draw a card, and then you may play an action, may play an upgrade, may flip a transformer, may use a tap ability, and then at the end of the turn, you have to attack. So there's several things you can do with this, but one of the things you can do straight off the bat is just give a character a second attack. Now, it's got to be a character with 6 stars or fewer, which means we've got a few weaker characters and the vast majority of combiners. But, and I don't think this is the first time I've said this today, assuming the videos are uploaded in the order I was expecting to, RC. Wave 1 RC here really comes to mind. You see, the thing about RC is, it's absolutely brilliant in bot mode. You have Pierce equal to your attack. So you play a bunch of orange icons to boost up your attack, and you play a bunch of upgrades, hopefully, whether that's grenade launcher for the real kind of one-time shot, or something like flamethrower to try and stay on there for a little bit longer, and you just sit there piercing, and it's wonderful. Problem is, RC is an extremely weak character, and will be going down fairly quickly. Health of 9, defense of 1. And sure, you can use Force Field, which is quite nice, but there's nothing to stop your opponent playing something like a Bashing Shield, which I know is popular in a whole bunch of decks at the moment, which would then get rid of it, and that would be very sad. So what you do here is you attack with RC. Now then it's your opponent's turn. And if on your opponent's turn they're able to take RC down using attacks or even adding in cards like Bolt of Lightning or whatever it might be, if they can, they can, and that's a little bit sad. But what it essentially does is it means you can start with RC and your opponent has one turn to try and get this rolling, to try and get the KO. And as long as they don't get the KO this turn, we good. Because then you can just tap Private Tote and go again. Now, of course, if your opponent really doesn't want you to, then after you attack with RC, before you get to use the tap ability, your opponent can just target RC. And she will be tapped, unfortunately, so your opponent can just go after her. But then it kind of forces your opponent's hand. You're forcing your opponent to act in a particular way, whether they want to or not. That could be fun. You can get a bit of mileage out of that. But if your opponent can't take down RC, I mean, let's say you put a force field on, it forces your opponent to have a way to get rid of force field and a way to do at least 9 damage that turn. Or else you can untap and go again. And of course, RC with her Pierce means that you can just ignore their defense and just roll. I really, really like this with RC. Now, it's not just for RC. There are a whole bunch of combiners that you can use here if you so wish. I mean, Alpha Bravo just has Pierce free generally. So you could use this with Alpha Bravo. Also, side note, while we're talking about Alpha Bravo, we've now seen a little bit of support for motorcycles with Papa Wheelie. And we've seen a little bit of support for spaceships with Unconventional Flying Object. So I suppose the only thing we need now is a little bit of support for helicopters. We're not there yet, but a man can dream, ladies and gentlemen. A man can dream. But of course, we've also got all these other Micromasters, which all have tap abilities. So you can just use this tap ability to untap another Micromaster so that you can use their tap ability. And that might be Raider Vispa, where you discard 3 green icon cards from your hand, and then your opponent has to discard 3 cards from their hand. That would certainly work. Or maybe you go Private Flak, whereby you can then play an upgrade. Though to be fair, Private Flak's got half-decent attack, especially for the cost, so you could even just use it for the tap skill and then go, actually, you know what? I can just use this as is now and just attack with it. It would work. And let's not forget Raider Ravage, one of the ones that was revealed over with Shockwave the other day, whereby when you tap it, you do 1 damage to an enemy. If that enemy has 4 defense, do 2 damage to it instead. I like Raider Ravage here. You can just sit there pinging at stuff. And what's really cool here is that when we're looking at Soundwave, we've got Raider Ravage and Raider Laserbeak, both of which are 5-star characters. Then we have a little bit of a look at Major Soundwave, and we find out that we are in fact an 11-star character, which brings you up to exactly 21 stars. You've got 4 stars remaining. I'm not saying you have to use this, but I am saying this would work very, very nicely in with Soundwave as a 25-star deck. Now, you could put some star cards in as well if you wish, but my point is you could use this to just keep untapping Ravage and using it to ping, because you've still got Soundwave to attack and you've still got Raider Laserbeak. Bearing in mind, Laserbeak is actually a decent attacker that has PS2, so that is a combo I like very much indeed. Now, you are a melee character, so I suppose the usual rules of Power Sword and Body Armor apply. I like them very much indeed, but, I mean, come on. You're a Micromaster. You're so small and so weak. You ain't gonna last 5 minutes. You are also a truck, which gives you access to team-up tactics. But again, that just heals, and that's not going to be great for such a tiny card. Cargo Trailer, which is great if you get 3 on there. Again, it's a tiny card. Or one of the cards from Wave 3, I was lucky enough to be able to reveal Battering Ram, which, I mean, it lets you flip over a Transformer. You get to attack and flip it over, and that might work. That might be something you're looking to do. It does give you +2 attack as well, but again, you're pretty tiny. But certainly, being able to flip them over is quite good. Of course, you do have to do damage in order to flip them, and even with the +2, you're only on 4. Your opponent might legit just be able to block it. So I'm not loving the stats, and the designations are kind of pointless given how bad the stats are. But we have a tap ability here, which is brilliant and opens up so many options with so many other characters. It's a sad kind of character that really just exists to let you use other characters again, but you're a 4 cost, so that's kind of ideal. I like it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a fan. Shout out once more before we finish to the lovely Jamie Madison who did show this. I am a fan and you should be too. But I'd like to know how much of a fan you are, so please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about games like Transformers and a whole bunch of others. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.